The Texas Longhorns starting right tackle Cameron Williams has officially declared for the 2025 NFL Draft. And today we're going to get into some of what this guy has shown on tape. We'll break down some of what he struggles with as well as what he has to improve on. I'm excited for this one. Let's just get right into the tape. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and get right into what this guy does well on tape. One of the things with Cameron Williams we have to understand is the guy has a ton of upside, right? His best football is obviously in front of him. And the guy hasn't played a lot of snaps, right? This is the first year he really became a full-time starting tackle for Texas. Prior to this year, he wasn't a starter. He played like 100 snaps last year, maybe like 20, 30 the season before that. But one of the things you're going to notice right away on tape with Williams is he's very long. So when he gets his hands on guys, it does allow him to naturally keep that separation between him and these defensive linemen. You see on this one where he's going to do a pretty good job at keeping that arm fully extended, which allows him to keep this guy away from his body. NFL teams obviously value arm length a ton when it comes to offensive tackles because you got to be able to outreach the defensive lineman, right? You got to be able to keep your arms on these guys and not allow them to grab your chest or grab the inside of you and ultimately be able to throw you off balance. You want to be able to have that long arm length. And with Williams, he definitely has that, and you definitely see that on tape. Now, another part of this guy's game that's really, really impressive is just the physicality he has, right? That power, that strength. You see it a ton on tape, and I want to kind of get into that a little bit because this is one of the big factors as to why Williams may ultimately end up going in the top 2 rounds, right? It's that power, that ability to anchor down, especially against guys that are on the quicker side. You got a really nice rep here where he's going to end up getting into number 42 here. He does a good job with the hand placement. Right hand lands inside, left hand lands on the shoulder pad. And look at him get physical, torque this defensive lineman. And then he's going to end up putting this guy into the ground here. Just a really, really good, powerful rep by Williams. Be able to get that pancake on this one. And then on this next one, you're going to get Josiah Stewart, who I think is a very good defensive end. Have a really long runway. And as Williams is going to get vertical, the defensive end here is going to be able to hit him. And he's going to try to bull rush him. To me, the defensive end has all the advantages in the world on this one. And Williams does a really good job just being able to handle the power once again. We're going to slow this play down here because to me, this is a very, very impressive rep by Cameron Williams because of the fact that he's able to handle that power. Again, Stewart's going to be able to get that long runway. He's going to be able to go full speed. And he gets 4 or 5 steps into this before he ultimately makes contact. And you can see this, right? Both hands line inside, helmet. And this is a straight up power move here by Stewart. And Williams not only eats that power, but he shuts it down. Look at that, man. That's absolutely impressive by Williams. And again, this is one of the things that Williams has put out there on tape. He's strong. He can handle the bull rush. He can handle power. And it's a part of what makes this guy a good football player. Now, of course, Williams' power isn't only going to be seen in pass pro. It 100% translates into the run game as well. And you see on this one here, he gets physical with his defensive end. He's going to straight up just put his ass into the ground. Just a really good job against the edge player on this one. One of the things that I think with Williams that's absolutely underrated is just the movement he generates in the run game. And I think it's important to understand that when you have these outside zone runs or these inside zone run concepts, as soon as Williams makes contact with this defensive end, this guy has a responsibility of making contact and setting the edge, right? He needs to make sure that you're not getting a push and you're not letting that run lane ultimately develop underneath it. And with Williams, whenever he makes contact with these guys are not setting the edge, right? You see oftentimes Williams take this guy and move him 3, 4, 5, 6 yards at a time. And this is a great example of that. Look at how far Williams ends up moving this defensive end, right? Relative to where he makes contact, and you can see this little logo here. They really make contact on the left side of this logo. Look at how far this guy's going to end up getting moved, right? Look at that. To me, that's one of the things that Williams is going to bring. And remember, this is important because if Williams can take this guy here and push him 5 yards out towards the right here, that means whenever this center is able to reach, there's going to be a gap between that center as well as where Williams ultimately takes his guy. And this is why it's very important for defensive ends to be able to set the outside gap, right? Really set the edge. And to me, Williams is one of those guys that absolutely destroys defensive linemen trying to set edges. And this is one of the strengths of this guy, right? Of course, you also see on this one, he's going to basically end up pancaking this defensive lineman. Just a really, really good, powerful rep. And here's another one. This time it's going to be a pin pull towards the left of your screen. And you're going to see Williams who has a down block, and he has to hold the down block on this defensive tackle. And he's just going to do a really, really nice job holding it. Again, the power of Williams flashes on tape. And this is just another example of that. So Williams here has a down block on this defensive lineman. You're going to get a couple of these guys to basically pull out towards the left. And Williams' responsibility is not only to make this block, but try to push him over here to the right if possible. because when the running back here takes this ball over here towards the left, he might cut it back over here towards the right. Right, it's not guaranteed that it has to bounce all the way out here towards the left. Now, this one does end up just hitting to the outside. But again, on this one, you see Williams absolutely crush this guy. Not only is he going to make the block here, you see him keep that leverage as he flips the hips towards the left. But he does not allow this defensive lineman to move it off, right? To me, that's such a great job here by Williams to be able to hold this block. Again, if the running back wanted to bend this back, he would have been able to, and Williams would have been the reason why. So again, just a really, really strong, powerful rep by Cameron Williams. The guy's strength flashes on tape, and I think that's very noticeable right away. Now, this past year, Cameron Williams took 975 total snaps, and prior to this season, he took about 150 in his first 2 seasons. And some people do think it was a mistake for Williams to come out this year as opposed to waiting another year and maybe putting together a second solid season before coming out into the NFL. However, the fact that this tackle class is not the strongest, the fact that there's really not a clear-cut #1 offensive tackle in this class, to me, I think Williams made the right decision coming out this year because he might have a chance to actually be a first-round pick. Offensive tackle is one of those positions where you might have a second or third round grade and you might still end up going in the first round because of the value of the position. Plus, I think with a guy like Williams, who's really only been a full-time starter for 1 year, the upside's still there, right? He just turned 21 years old. He can still get so much better. He can develop and he can become one of the top tier tackles in the NFL. The guy has the size, he has the strength, he has the frame to be a really good football player. But he does have to develop, and I do want to kind of get into some of what this guy struggled with because I do think Cameron Williams does have legit issues on tape, and we're going to go ahead and just get into some of what I've seen from his tape and some of why I do have some concerns with this guy. Now, of course, one of the important things for offensive tackles is you have to be quick, and you have to have really, really good footwork to be able to have success in the NFL. And with Williams, he struggled against guys that are good pass rushers, guys that are quick, guys that can move, guys that can kind of get after the quarterback a little bit. Williams struggled against these guys. Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M, even a team like Florida, who has a pretty good pass rush, Michigan. He struggled sometimes. And I think part of what we have to recognize is, you know, in college, you're going to play against a lot of teams that aren't very good, right? UTSA, ULM, even teams like Arkansas and Kentucky don't have great pass rushers. But when you really take out the games where this guy's going up in one-on-one situations against guys that are NFL caliber players, and it's a true 5-step or 7-step drop, the guy struggled at times. Now I'm going to just show you guys some of these snaps, right? So you're going to see on this one here, Williams is going to just get straight up chopped by Jack Sawyer, and this doesn't actually lead to the quarterback going down. The quarterback does end up getting the ball out, but this is a losing rep, right? And there are a lot of losing reps by Cameron Williams, especially against Ohio State. And this one here does not lead to an actual sack, but there's a couple other we'll get into. And it kind of comes down to the same way that this guy's going to end up losing. So when guys hit him with a speed move, you know, he leans a little bit, he gets swiped, he ends up leaning forward. I'll show you guys a couple more examples here. Here's another one where Williams is going to end up going one-on-one against the edge player here. And number 44, JT, is going to end up just bull rushing him. He's going to end up getting right into the quarterback now. Now, of course, Ohio State, JT, number 44 here is a pretty good defensive lineman. He's going to be an NFL caliber player. But again, you can see that Cameron Williams is going to end up just getting bull rushed by a guy who's an NFL caliber player. Now, of course, I don't think Williams necessarily struggles with power. I think he's very strong. But I do think he needs to continue to add to his frame as he gets into the NFL. So that'll be just a little bit that he has to continue to develop on. The thing that really concerns me with Williams is going to be the speed and the quickness that he isn't able to handle at times, right? You're going to get another one here where I believe this is a cornerback, might be a safety, ends up just beating him to the edge. And to me, you can't have this if you're a tackle. And again, you're going to see that he's going to just straight up get swiped, right? And it's a speed move. You're going to see number 6 here comes off the edge. He's going to swipe with the inside arm. And then Williams is going to end up leaning forward, right? On this one, Williams just does not hit that landmark quick enough. He doesn't get enough depth in that vertical set. And that's going to lead to him basically not being able to get in front of this cornerback coming off the edge. And that's going to lead to him not getting in front of the defender, which allows that guy to basically chop his outside arm, which sends Williams leaning forward, right? So part of this guy's development in what he's going to have to do is just be a little bit faster out of his stance, get more vertical, and the speed of the game will also have to kind of slow down. Now, obviously, this is college, and that is one of the concerns I do have with his tape, is that in college, you should not have these type of reps where you're struggling against the speed. Maybe you're not getting vertical enough in your drop. Those type of things usually are meant for rookies in the NFL, not for guys in college. Here's another one. Now, this one's not going to translate into an actual sack, but Williams, once again, man, is going to get straight up beat to the outside. And Sawyer is going to just straight up chop him and hit the outside, and he's going to end up losing. He's going to lean forward. To me, this just comes down to being able to hit that landmark. And then as you throw your punch, just don't lean into it, right? And in this instance, Williams is going to end up leaning a little bit, and he's going to once again get beat, right? To me, you got to be able to do a better job on this one. I think Cameron Williams' best football is obviously in front of him. And I think because he's only 21 years old, and the fact that he's only taken about 1,100 snaps in college tells me that if a team brings this guy in, the upside's absolutely through the roof. Cameron Williams can develop easily into the best tackle from this class, right? He has everything kind of going for him, but he does have that one big issue, which sometimes he does lean. And I think if you struggle against speed in college, it's only going to get worse as you get into the NFL, right? Because guys in the NFL are only faster. And most of the time, NFL teams will take guys that are super quick, super explosive, and maybe their tape's not as good at the moment, as opposed to guys who have really good tape, but maybe they just don't move all that well, right? We saw guys like DeJuan Jones, who had arguably the best tape coming out of that draft class, end up going in like round 3 or 4. And a big part of that was just because he was on the slower side for an offensive tackle. So teams in the NFL will always value athletic and guys that are a little bit faster at that tackle position, as opposed to guys that are on the slower side. So it will be interesting to see where Cameron Williams ultimately ends up getting drafted. But I do like this guy's tape. I do think he has a ton of upside. Would I take him in the first round if I'm an NFL team? I probably would not. But I do think that the upside with this kid's through the roof. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if a team does take him in the first round, because tackle is an absolute huge need in the NFL. And you generally don't have enough tackles to match the type of talent we have at that defensive end spot. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the first round. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing. We are obviously going to be covering the NFL draft, and we obviously do O-line, D-line content on this channel. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.